The animation begins by giving us a little character breakdown on Riley. She is described as an exceptional teenager and a kind person who was just about to take the next steps towards becoming a full teenager. Riley is classified by her core emotions, which allow her to make judgments and take actions based on the narratives that present themselves. Riley's emotions include joy, fear, sadness, anger, and envy. They are all mental constructs that assist her in making important decisions that affect her daily life. These emotions are represented as characters in Riley's mind, with Joy serving as the primary orchestrator. They run their operations in a place called the Personality Island, where they monitor Riley, their chief host, on a very gigantic TV screen. These miniature creatures influence their emotions by clicking on a console. The animation shows us how Riley thrives in her new town. She had even gone to form a very strong friendship with her friends Grace and Bree. After Riley had just finished winning a hockey game with her friends, she is met by their high school coach, who commends the girls for their exceptional play and then invites them to a 3-day hockey camp. The girls are excited that they finally have a chance to play for the main team if they impress the coach at the camp. Later that night, Riley discloses to her parents that she is worried that she might mess things up. Seeing this, Joy creates a projection system for Riley that tosses out all her bad thoughts and memories to the back of her mind, so Riley doesn't navigate through them. The other emotions likes her idea, and they help Joy sweep out all bad memories. Joy decides to take sadness to where Riley's good old memories are kept. Just as they go to sleep waiting for the big day, an emotion alarm which could be described as puberty goes off. After they had successfully stopped the alarm, a group of mind workers barge into the control room and then makes a mess of everything. As they leave, they warn Joy that the others are coming, which leaves the other emotions in confusion. The next morning, Riley appears to be unsettled as she becomes unnecessarily rude and irritated by everyone around her. Her mom's emotions tried to keep their cool as they knew that this day was going to finally come, but every effort she made to calm her down wasn't working. On their way to the hockey camp, she is excited and goes along with her friends, but during their conversation, she discovers that her friends weren't going to be attending the same high school with her, and this hockey camp could probably be the last time they will all play together. With sadness trying to burst out its emotions after hearing the news, the other emotions kept her in check till they possibly leave the car. After she is dropped off, Riley cries a little bit before she faces the new high school world before her. As she tries to go meet her friends, she bumps into her idol Val Ortiz. Just then, at the Emotions Control Center, a new set of emotions arrives. The others are shocked by this discovery. Anxiety, a carrot-colored character who has so much energy and loves getting ahead of himself. He introduces Joy and the others to 3 more emotions: envy, embarrassment, and ennui, which can also be referred to as boredom. Joy accommodates them as she believes every emotion is good for Riley at this stage in her life. Anxiety takes control of the console and then decides to follow Valentino Ortiz, leaving behind Riley's best friend. Joy questions his decision, but just like his personality, he tells her that he is planning for the next 40 years of Riley's life, as she could be left with no friends. His job is to protect Riley from the stuff she can't see as he plans for the future. He shows the crew the worst possible scenario that could happen to Riley if she doesn't perform well for the hockey team. Joy doesn't like his negative personality and then tries to calm everyone down. Just then, Nostalgia walks in, but it wasn't yet her time, so she is escorted back into her holding box. Valentino takes Riley to the locker room to meet the other Firehawks team. Although she is excited, she keeps her cool and then waits for her friends. Just then, Joy takes over. She becomes so much excited that she doesn't notice when Coach Robert walked into the locker room. Coach Robert seizes everyone's phone because of Riley, and this makes Joy feel she has done an absolute bad job. Because of the indiscipline, Coach Robert puts the girls to extra training. After training, Riley overhears the Firehawk team talking bad about her. Although Valentino stood for her, she burst into tears as this wasn't how she wanted people to talk about her. With no idea left, Anxiety decides to step in. He tells the other emotions that they needed to win Valentino on their side in order to correct things and make them work. Anxiety creeps in, and then she talks to Valentino. Val advises Riley, telling her that they should be on the same team during match practice. The other emotions are glad that Anxiety plan worked out pretty well, so he proceeds to continue with her other plans. Coach Robert splits the girls into 2 teams for their team practice, although Riley's best friends had asked her to join their team. Anxiety takes control. She tosses away Riley's old sense of self despite Joy's effort to stop him. She tells Joy that change is scary and Riley needed to become a new person so she wouldn't be lonely in the future. She makes Riley join Valentino's team, abandoning her best friends. The other emotions perceive that Anxiety is trying to change their Riley, so they try to stop her, but she bottles them up, saying Riley doesn't need them anymore. After Anxiety had thrown them out of the headquarters, she goes down to Riley's deepest memories and then plants a new Riley there. Meanwhile, Joy and the other emotions are captured and taken to the vault where Riley's secrets are all kept. They meet a group of fictional characters, but none of them could break them out of the giant glass jar. The video game character has limited strength and very weak power-up, so there was no way he could help. Just then they meet up with Riley's deepest and dark secrets. At one blow, he's able to free them from their bondage. Some of the mind workers who secured the vault saw the emotions and tried to stop them from escaping, but Lex, the video game character, comes to their rescue. Although he has a very weak power move, but he is able to win the battle for the emotions. As they get out of the vault, they proceed to go help Riley. They needed to go to the back of her mind to retrieve her old self. So Joy devises a plan that would make them bring the old Riley back. Meanwhile, Anxiety wakes the other emotions as she makes Riley get up so early to practice. Although Riley is good and doesn't need much training, Anxiety creates multiple negative scenarios that could happen as she slows down a bit. Just then she is joined by Valentino, who commends her work rate and invites her to hang out with her friends later that night. Anxiety and Envy are glad that Val is now sharing memories with them and even gave them an exclusive invite. Joy and the others arrives at the stream of consciousness. This stream will take them to the back of Riley's mind, but Sadness reminds Joy that someone has to be at the console to recall them so they wouldn't be stranded. Joy tells them that someone has to go up the tube and back to the headquarters. They ask Sadness to go back to the headquarters as she knew the console better than anyone else, although Sadness is scared at first, but Joy encourages her to help save Riley. Meanwhile, Anxiety creates a whole lots of negative memories to make a new corrupted sense of self for Riley. Anxiety plans seem to be working out pretty good as Riley spends more time with Valentino and also performs well at hockey. One time after their match, she walks with the other Firehawks team and they come across Coach Robert's office where she keeps her notebook that contains details of everyone, including if they made the team or not. Anxiety and Envy are worried as they needed to know what Coach Robert has to say about them. Riley proceeds with the team. Although she doesn't fit with them, she tries to adapt and at some instance ends up embarrassing herself. During a casual hangout, she is asked to tell her favorite band. Although Riley loves the band, she covers up with sarcasm when she finds out the crew thinks the band is outdated. Sarcasm creates an earthquake in the island of personality, so Joy and the others' route were cut short, so they had to follow the longer route to save Riley. Valentino informs Riley about the scrimmage tomorrow, saying this is when Coach Robert actually selects the rookies. Anxiety is worried that the D-Day is fast approaching and they might not be ready yet. So he goes once more again to plant in negative memories in Riley's mind ahead of tomorrow. On the other hand, Sadness arrives at the headquarters waiting for a perfect chance to intervene. Anger and the other emotions begin to complain as they feel the whole journey is useless as they weren't getting any closer. They nag about the whole journey to Joy, with Anger calling Joy delusional. Joy loses her cool. She yells at them, telling them how hard it is for her to stay positive all the time because she doesn't want to lose Riley. She struggles to hold back tears as she reveals that Riley might not really need them anymore and Anxiety could be right. The other emotions console her, realizing how bad they might have made Joy feel to unleash Sadness. They motivate her, telling her not to give up now. Anger helps her up as they continue with their journey. Later that night, Riley couldn't sleep as Anxiety was toiling with her mind. He needed to make sure that nothing went wrong the following morning. Unfortunately, Embarrassment sees Sadness where she was hiding and observing everything going on, but he decides not to be a snitch and then even hides her properly. Joy and the others arrives at Riley's Imagination Island. She is surprised to see that a lot has changed since the last time she came there. They walk into her imagination rooms and then are shocked to see that Anxiety has summoned all the mind workers, asking for every possible negative scenarios and outcome that could happen if Riley fails to make the team. Anxiety uses Riley's imaginations against her as she couldn't sleep because she kept on thinking about what could go wrong. Joy and the others sneaks in. They upload positive scenarios instead of negative scenarios. This makes Anxiety worried as the workers aren't doing exactly what he asks. Just then he figures that Joy could be in the room, so he calls her out. Joy tells the rest of the workers that Anxiety is hurting Riley by putting up horrible projections in her imagination. Anxiety, on the other hand, explains that she is just trying to save Joy from getting hurt in the future. She lists out possible negative scenarios while Joy talks about the positive, and then the whole workers agree with her, so they stop searching for negative scenarios. Anxiety is worried that they don't understand the gravity of what they are doing, so she sends some workers to capture Joy and the others, but they escape before they are being caught. Anxiety doesn't like the fact that Riley had found peace and gone back to bed, so he makes her think about the notebook, saying she could possibly find out what Coach thinks about her. Sadness, who is witnessing all this, then calls Joy through her walkie-talkie. Joy tells her to do anything possible to stop Anxiety. Anxiety proceeds with his plans, but Riley suddenly stops when she arrives at the head coach office. Anxiety knew it had to be Sadness. She steals Enwi's phone to stop Tip Riley from peeking into her coach's journal. So Anxiety proceeds to look for her and then initiated the idea back again. Riley looks through the journal and then finds out that Coach didn't select her. Anxiety is worried and sad, so he starts brainstorming for ideas. Just as Joy and the others travels to the back of Riley's mind, a heavy brainstorm started and ideas began falling on them. Anxiety isn't pleased with the ideas he is getting, so he demands bigger ones, which Joy tried to stop, but she ends up handing it over to Anxiety. He goes on to plant the idea in her mind. Just as Joy and the other emotions make it to the back of Riley's mind, they needed to go to the top of the mountain. To be able to locate the sense of self, they find it that the light has become really dim. The idea is built in Riley, so she goes over to paint her hair red like the other Firehawk teen. She tries to associate with her new friends, but then they notice that her eyes are weary. Sadness tried to stop this, and with the help of embarrassment, she is able to cause a massive disruption that leaves Joy and the other emotions stranded. Their Joy navigates through all Riley's bad memories and tells the others that they need to get to the headquarters as soon as possible. With the help of a fictional character, Pouchy, they are able to use dynamites to blow up all the bad memories to cause an avalanche that will enable them travel. Back at the headquarters, Anxiety had gone out of control. In Riley's final game, he makes her feel she needs to score more than 2 goals or else she wouldn't be fit good enough. She becomes selfish and is filled with rage during her final hockey game. After she commits a dangerous foul against her friend Grace, Coach Robert had to sit her outside of the game. There she navigates through different emotions and worries as Anxiety is already causing chaos back at the headquarters. Luckily, Joy and the others find their way back to the headquarters. She is able to stop Anxiety, who had gone full rogue. She breaks the corrupted sense of self and then inserts the old one. Anxiety is sorry for the damage he had caused. He tells Joy that he just realized that they don't get to choose who Riley is, and he was just trying to protect her. Just then, Joy figures out that she doesn't need to change Riley to have a good future, but all her memories and experience will shape her to the person she wants to become. The emotions all hug each other as this eases up Riley. She becomes whole again and then apologizes to Grace and Bree for treating them bad. She calls upon Joy to orchestrate her actions as she finishes the game with so much happiness. The new section at high school, Riley becomes friends with Valentino and the Fiery Hawks teams. She also keeps in contact with her best friends Grace and Bree as the emotions come together to help her go through her newly developed sense of self. And that was how the movie ended. Thank you for watching, guys. If you love animation movies, please subscribe to this channel and keep watching. Bye.